Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. It's so great to be along with you today. Transgender mania is still very much alive and well, folks. They are not backing off. Even though I believe common sense has started to take over America, I think people realize after the election of President Trump, when people have had their just derangement syndrome start to subside a little bit, to see that men in women's bathrooms is a bad idea. But then I see this story out of California. A woman in a Gold's Gym goes in, and there's a dude there, apparently with the junk out, and she flips out, rightly so. Now, this is a black lesbian who flips out. Can you blame her? I can't. So this is making a lot of traction. Scott Wiener, the purveyor of every bad idea in California. He's a state senator. He pushes all of this gender ideology nonsense, basically enabling child molesters to do their thing in California. She calls him out at a town hall meeting where he was speaking at, and that is fascinating. We're going to go through some of that today on the program just to remind you what this looked like. This was the aftermath of the encounter. Her? I most certainly can't blame her. I'd be pissed too. Now, imagine there's a woman in the men's locker room. It doesn't have quite the same effect as a gross, disgusting man in a woman's locker room, but still it's uncomfortable, right? And yet, Gold's Gym appears to do nothing about it. The police were called. An interaction ensues. The dude who was in the restroom goes on TMZ. I'll play you some of that. But this, again, is just all proof that this gender ideology is very, very real. And to me, it's upsetting that it's still going on. Now, one of the organizations pushing back against all of this is, of course, Patriot Mobile. I love these folks. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. They're outspoken against their pushback against gender ideology, especially in schools, especially in women's sports, men playing in women's sports. Beyond that, though, they offer up a great mobile phone service. I use Patriot Mobile, and I'm so happy that I do. You can choose between the three big networks, 100% U.S.-based customer service. Switching is super easy. Use the promo code GRANT. You get a free month service. They'll make you a deal to switch your phone service over, so that's not going to cost you any money. And you know that you're spending your money with patriots who are using that money in a way to move America forward. 972-PATRIOT is the number, 972-PATRIOT. Give them a call today, or go online at patriotmobile.com/Grant. And don't forget to use that promo code GRANT. We're so grateful for their support. They support me and so many other conservatives. Know that you're part of an army, the official cell phone service provider of Stinchfield's Army, patriotmobile.com/Grant. All right, with that, folks, I say we get the show started.
Uncensored and unapologetic. This is Stinchfield. Here's your host, Grant Stinchfield.
All right, welcome everybody. So this woman is now making the rounds, and she's doing a great job of calling attention to the ridiculousness of men. And she gets kicked out. You believe it? The cops come. I mean, you're going after the wrong people. Now, she is a self-declared black lesbian woman. You would think if anybody understood the trans ideology, she would. But no, she says there is no reality to men being women. God bless her. And she's no conservative, by the way. You know, I've watched some of her speeches online. I've watched her confront Anthony Wiener, who is the state senator that, as I said, has done some absolutely horrible things to push through all kinds of gender ideology in California. Well, she confronts him, and you can tell she's not a conservative, but she has common sense when it comes to men and women's bathrooms. Oh, let me get some audio higher on this. Sorry about that. Hold on. Let's do this.
As a lesbian woman who was attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman with a documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, can self-ID as women in women-only spaces, sir? Please tell me.
Yeah, so we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women, and so, we...
Wait, what does that mean? We have both trans people who are men and women that are both men and women. Well, you're trans doesn't actually mean you trans to a different sex. If you were born a man, you are a man. I don't need to go through this with all of you. I know all of you know this, but listen to this guy. You see the lunacy of them.
So if you're trans women or women.
Senator, you've done great things with the bills you've passed with the housing. I've read a lot of your bills, and like you said, there are bills that need to be opened up, and I'm telling you now, millions of women across America are being harassed and sexually assaulted in locker rooms. I'm a lesbian black woman. I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic. And I do respect a lot of the things you've done. But I do see a lot of these bills that you've passed that are dangerous for women and young children. And I understand that you're trying to be on a level playing field. And I'm here to represent my community because I hear a lot of things about my community in these bills. And I'm telling you as a woman, first and foremost, that this is dangerous and we need your help because you're in the office, you're going to go in the Polisky spot. I want to support you. I have millions of people behind me watching this right now, and we want to know, are you going to protect women? Not trans women, women, trans women are different things. Women. Listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted.
Women are women.
I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted by men. He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery.
All right. So first off, you hear this crowd. One, Anthony Wiener is a state senator in California. He's going to be running for Nancy Pelosi's congressional seat. Okay. Now, she says trans women are not women. That is a common sense scientific fact, folks. I don't care who wants to argue with me. If you dress up like a woman, it doesn't make you a woman. And yet the radicals in that crowd are booing her. Well, she gets the last word.
I'm a lesbian. I'm not transphobic and I'm black. So if there's another black woman in here who wants to tell me how they feel, please join in. But all of you are not. And I don't know who you are, what you are, but I'm a lesbian and I'm telling you right now, men are harassing women in the locker room.
Let's let him answer the question.
I'm just telling you, since y'all want to woo.
No, just let's.
Now I'm done. And by the way, I respect what you have done. I just want to let you know that.
Let's give the senator the opportunity.
I'm done.
I appreciate your point of view.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry that you were harassed,
Multiple times.
and I appreciate you talking about it. I think we need to protect the safety of all women. And
see, this is this all women stuff. Well, they're not women, Anthony Wiener. What a perfect name for you, you tool.
And that obviously that's incredibly important. And I also know that trans women are also brutalized in this country. So women and
when are trans women brutalized in this country? He means trans men dressing up as women, by the way. When are they brutalized? Because there's a lot of people brutalized in this country. Irina Zarutska was brutalized in this country by a career criminal in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's not talking about her. You got people on the streets in California that have to step over homeless people, sometimes getting stabbed with a screwdriver. They're brutalized every day. You're not talking about that. Trans women, come on, man.
And cisgender women are brutalized in this country, and we have to protect the safety of all women.
We have to protect women. We cannot be raped in the bathrooms by men that want to say they're women. They're not women. They're not women. I'm leaving. It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But these things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And my name is Tish Hyman. You heard me, sister? All right. Don't let them use our blackness and our civil rights as a reason to pass weird laws for children to transform. It's wrong. My sister's in jail. She can't get free tampons or soap, but she can get free transformation medication. Big Pharma at its best. Tired of it.
Yeah, Scott.
I just heard that. I had listened to this before. Her sister's in jail. She can't get free tampons or soap, but she can get transitioning medicine for free? What? That's California for you. So do you want to see some of the bills that Scott Wiener, that idiot, has passed? Look at this. Legalizing prostitution, creating more trafficking opportunities. Tax-funded drug houses supporting addictions, not addicts. He removed a penalty for sodomy with minors. This is true, by the way. We covered this on the LA radio show. Minors can consent to medical experiment without parental knowledge. That's sex transition surgery without the knowledge of your parents. This is what Scott Wiener has done. Look at the picture of him there, by the way. You got removing penalty for knowingly giving a partner HIV. Knowingly giving them HIV, and he removes that. Requires biological males be housed in female prisons if they say they have gender dysphoria. Trans sanctuary state, California, can claim abuse and enter to their own foster care system from any state and be given hormones, castrations, and mastectomies at taxpayer expense. That, folks, all from Anthony Wiener. This is the kind of ridiculousness that, in my opinion, absolutely needs to change. Now, I'm going to play for you the dude that was in the bathroom at the Gold's Gym. He's interviewed on TMZ, and you'll see when I tell you about freaks, I don't have a daughter, but if I did, I don't want them in the bathroom with these people. They're nuts. They really are. All right. It is clearly, folks, a mental illness. All right, listen to me. The Wellness Company. I got all of their stuff here. Mars, this is the latest supplement for men. This is a testosterone booster. So don't go with the shots. Don't go with the creams. Go with Mars. It's a natural booster. You don't need a prescription for it. And it's fabulous. Energy booster. You want more stamina. You want to be better in bed. You want more energy, mental focus. This supplement for men is terrific. Mars. Then there is the Spike Detox. Ultimate Spike Detox. This is to get the spike protein out of your system. And I think most of all the things I pitch to the Wellness Company, besides the prescription medication kits that everybody should have in their home, it is, folks, the Parasite Cleanse. The Parasite Cleanse is a total detox. Millions of Americans have parasites. You may not even know it. You get this. You'll get enough to last you a whole year of go through a number of different courses of this parasite detox. If you have pets, you want to take one of these. If you eat sushi, you want to take one of these. TWC.health/Grant. Use the promo code Grant. These parasites are disgusting. They are in your body. They are crawling in your organs. They can get into your brain. They can cause skin problems, brain fog, you name it. TWC.health/Grant. Use the promo code Grant for 10% off. The Wellness Company getting it done for so many members of Stinchfield's Army. Grateful for their support on this program. All right, so the transgender loon goes on TMZ. This Harvey dude, I think he's got like a hint of common sense, but he's so beholden to liberals. He doesn't want to offend them, but he beats around the bush and he tries to ask the right questions without offending anybody. Just offend people, Harvey. Don't worry about offending trans people. They're not women. You could just say it.
Well, joining us now is one of the people that that Tish says she confronted in the locker room. Her name is Alexis Black, and she's joining us now. Alexis, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hi.
Hey, Alexis. So
now, do you want that dude in your locker room if you're a woman? Seriously.
We spoke with Tish, and she said when she came face to face with you, it was obvious to her you were a man. So, I don't want to get terribly graphic here, but can you kind of explain how you appeared. Do you believe that she was reading something in that you didn't appear to be male? She perceived you to be such.
All right, wait a second here. I'm going to freeze frame this. Didn't appear to be male? Or you don't need to see this dude's junk to figure out that's a dude, okay? Harvey, come on.
Well, first, I told the people that raised me that this is the way that I was when I was 8 years old, and really I stuffed it down pretty deep, and I began using hormones this year in February, and I actually relinquished that information to her about name change, and it says female on my ID and hormones, and I mean I'm registered as a female with the gym.
So you register at Gold's Gym as a female, and all of a sudden that makes you a chick? I don't think so. You live in California. You can basically claim anything you want in California. You can be an illegal alien and vote in our U.S. elections simply by just saying, I identify as an American citizen, and bingo, bango, you're on the ballot. The reality is you're a dude. It doesn't matter what it says on your driver's license. It doesn't matter what Gold's Gym thinks. It doesn't matter what you identify as. You're a dude, and it makes people uncomfortable.
And were you at that moment, because she told us about a couple of different encounters, were you fully clothed at that moment?
Well, she has become aggressive with me on 4 different occasions, actually at different locations in Los Angeles at Gold's Gym. But fully clothed. I believe I was enrobed in a towel on one occasion, and this last time I was clothed the entire time.
It doesn't matter whether you're clothed or not. And this is the problem with TMZ. Whether you're showing your junk or whether you're fully clothed, you're a dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I apologize if this is too graphic, but I just think it's important.
Let's speak truth, baby.
Okay. Have you fully transitioned?
Be clearer when you say that.
Your genitalia.
That is a process that requires a quite lengthy work. Like, for instance, I sat in a chair and had hair follicles removed from my face for 2 hours yesterday in a process called electrolysis. In order to have...
This person's disgusting. I can't watch all of this. I'll play you a little more, but it's disturbing to me.
Especially the gym you're talking about at the Beverly Center. That's been recently built.
You are right.
They had a layout that they could have adjusted, and they could...
All right, so this is about building a third bathroom. So men, women, and then build a third bathroom for trans people. Now, the dude who they're interviewing makes a point, well, then you got to make 2 sets of bathrooms for transgender men, transgender women. I don't think you do. I think if you're a tranny, you just go in the tranny bathroom. But you don't need 3 bathrooms. You use the bathroom that you were at the time you were born, okay?
To put a third locker room in. Do you think that would have been appropriate, or do you feel like you are as entitled to use the women's locker room just as Tish is?
That's a great question. I'm glad that she said it, that you have put it on the air. And the answer is that would necessitate 2 different ones, because some people trans...
Oh, God. I can't watch her anymore. Him. I can't believe I just said her. I can't watch him anymore. It looks like a very, very bad Halloween costume. Okay? And again, what's interesting is I saw this. Let me see if I can pull it up. They think they're just so beautiful, don't they? Boy, I thought I had it. Hold on. I've got a picture here of them. Let me see. Of this. This is, if I can get it. Let me see. Why isn't this downloading? Let's see if this works. Nope, it's not downloading. It's literally how they look versus how they feel. And it's not downloading. I apologize about that. All right, next up on the hit parade. This is why you don't want to have transgender policies of allowing men in women's bathrooms, because you get a guy like this. I want you to watch very carefully. He apparently puts lube in his drawer when the women confront him in a stall in the women's room.
No! Fuck the fuck, bitch!
Yes, nigga! You was watching my friends!
These motherfuckers are
You see!
Right there. Lube he puts in his.
You dead ass? You dead ass? You dead ass? Fucking bathroom?
I run this
You in the fucking you didn't run shit! You
I mean, this is crazy. Cops need to be called. That, folks, is a great example of why you don't allow men in women's rooms. Okay? That right there. That's the disgusting human being. If he's doing what he's accused of doing, I don't know why else you'd be in the women's bathroom. That's disgusting. All right? Then you get people like this. You tell me if you want your daughter to be changing in the locker room next to this dude.
We humans are capable of so much. We are capable of so many amazing things. But yet, it's 2023. We can fly helicopters on Mars, but yet the minute somebody says, hi, I'm trans, I'm non-binary, I'm just different, the world, it loses its mind.
Loses its mind? You're the one who's lost your mind. These people are insane. It's a mental illness, and in many respects, I don't want to just call them names and tell them what lunatics they are and all those things. I have actually compassion for them. If you are this mentally ill that you think you're a beautiful woman in the body of a princess, when really you look like a grizzly bear that got into a keg of beer, you're really, really, really disturbed in the head, and you need help. And it is a mental illness, and nobody's helping these people. They're enabling these people, in fact.
Trans people, we are just simply human. And if we are allowed to be ourselves, if we are allowed to be ourselves without fear, without hatred, without anger, we are brilliant. We are astonishing. But we're just simply human. Let us be us. Don't fear us. Show us kindness and compassion. Trans Day visibility.
Don't fear us. Just show us compassion. And then we'll eat you alive with our little vampire teeth that she has. Oh, my God. Folks, I'm telling you, it's just absolutely disgusting. Well, a friend of mine, Megan McGlover, she is also a black lesbian, but a huge pro-Trump conservative. She used to come on my Newsmax show all the time. I saw this post from her about this situation of Tish Hyman, who was in the Gold's Gym, and she had this to say.
Okay, so I have a PSA announcement, okay? So I am a woman, okay? Uterus, cooch, ovaries, the whole nine, okay? So I am a woman, okay? And I'm telling you, we don't want y'all asses in our bathroom. Okay? I don't give a damn if you feel like a woman, if you've always felt like a woman, if you think you're a woman, if you think you look like a woman, if you're feminine, if you act more like a woman than women do, and all this other shit. I'm telling you what it is, ho. We do not want your asses, your dick, your beans, your balls, testicles. We don't want y'all in our bathroom. Okay? You understand what I'm telling you? I don't care how you feel. I don't care what you think. I don't care about human rights, civil rights, rights of transition, of transformation, whatever it is. I don't give a damn. Stay y'all asses out of women's spaces. That's
way to go, Megan. That message is very, very true. So now, here's the sad reality. It's not just happening in California. It's happening all across the country. This is in Virginia.
Arlington, Virginia locker room, now ground zero for a battle between the U.S. Justice Department and 5 school districts in Northern Virginia. It's in the news yesterday in the New York Post, and it's been in the news a lot. It's a high school that shares its pool with community members, and as such, it allows high school boys and grown men to waltz into the women's locker room with all the girls and the women if they say the magic open sesame words, "I'm trans." Here is a man named Richard Cox who invaded our space, naked, masturbating, in the shower. And when women objected, the staff responded by saying, "But he's trans." Eventually, he was arrested, but only because he's a registered sex offender, already with 30 previous offenses, and his trial is currently underway.
He's in the women's room because these Democrats allow it to happen. They do not care about women in America. They do not care about your safety and security. They don't care about how you feel. They care about how these radicals feel, and I don't really understand it because I can't imagine the trans community as a big voting bloc, okay? My guess is probably many of them don't even vote. Yeah, they're Democrats, but I don't think they're voting Democrats. They're mentally ill. And so you have these situations, it's got to stop. And it's up to you to make it stop. You cannot keep electing these people into office that pass these enabling laws to allow sex offenders into our women's locker rooms. It's just really, really, really a bad look. All right, folks. I tell you all the time about precious metals. Right now, central banks are buying up gold at record numbers. But do you know the biggest problem for retirees or people who are going to retire is the sheer fact of outliving your savings, okay? Gold can help you with this. Now, I want you to go to grantlovesgold.com, grantlovesgold.com, and watch a 2-minute video that is going to tell you exactly where you stand when it comes to your investment portfolio. Just 2 minutes. I urge you to watch it. grantlovesgold.com. If you've got a 401k that's worth $50,000 or more, you can take a portion of that 401k, invest it in precious metals. It is the place to be. Many people expect gold to be by $10,000 in the coming years. We're now around 4,000. So you got a lot of room there. And this is about a physical commodity that you can hold. It's not wacky crypto. It's not all this other stuff. Gold you can hold. GrantLovesGold.com. That's GrantLovesGold.com. Text GRANT to 35052. GRANT to 35052 for your free gold guide. And I mean it. Watch this video. It's 2 minutes. 2 minutes that could literally change your life at GrantLovesGold.com. That's GrantLovesGold.com. All right. So, folks, Turning Point USA. What a mess it was at Berkeley. Berkeley, the Antifa goons showed up in full force. They light fires. There's smoke bombs going off. You name it, they got it. Look at this. The war zone. There's nothing peaceful about this, folks. But you know what the mainstream media will tell you? The mainstream media will tell you that, oh, this was such a peaceful deal. I mean, literally as if they didn't learn anything from CNN or MSNBC.
Also showed up. We've already actually seen at least one fight break out. Amanda.
Yeah, things have been lively here. While that Turning Point USA event is still happening inside, protesters have been out here for hours. You can see them still here behind me. They have been chanting, just a very, very lively scene out here. While things have been mostly peaceful, there have been some tense moments. Earlier this evening, there was a scuffle that broke out where two men started fighting. UC Berkeley police had to break up that interaction. Later, someone was throwing smoke bombs and a car backfired, leading some of the people who were protesting to run away.
So she just explains the violence. But right before she explains all the violence that's breaking out, smoke bombs and fires and fist fights, she tells you it's mostly peaceful. It is not mostly peaceful.
Been out here for hours. You can see them still here behind me. They have been chanting, just a very, very lively scene out here. While things have been mostly peaceful.
No, they've not been mostly peaceful. Does this look mostly peaceful? This is when cops broke up that fight. The guy in the red is a Turning Point USA guy who was literally attacked by the dude in the shirt, the gray shirt. The dude in the gray shirt, by the way, you know what his name is? Jihad. His first name is literally Jihad. Muslim dude, part of Antifa, I guess. I believe Antifa is a terror organization. I believe cops figured out what happened here, and the guy in the red was not arrested. The other one was. But Antifa has a real problem by letting all of this stuff go on. And it's bad. And it needs to stop. So that's the guy known as Jihad. That's his first name, if you can believe it. Now, what do you think Jasmine Crockett has to say about all this?
The violence doesn't come from Democrats, just to be clear. I mean, obviously anyone can be a criminal, but it is MAGA. It's specifically MAGA faction. Like, I don't think traditional Republicans are getting engaged in all of this, but
it's not Democrats engaging in the violence. Who the fuck do you think Antifa is? Not Democrats? You think it's Make America Great Again conservatives running around with Antifa goons? No. MAGA hasn't done anything. MAGA stands up for others. They stand in the gap. They'll try to defend people against these lunatics. And yet she wants to claim that it's MAGA?
Like, even when we look at, and they don't talk about the assassination attempts anymore that took place with Donald Trump, but these were Trump supporters, right?
They were not Trump supporters. They were not even close to Trump supporters. They had manifestos of why they wanted to kill President Trump. What is she talking about?
As well as this most recent situation, they tried to flip it and say, oh, the leftists are, I'm like, this doesn't even make sense, right? But it's only like MAGA that does this.
You know what doesn't make sense? That stupid outfit you're wearing. And whatever comes out of your mouth. Now, it's only MAGA, she says. You tell me, does MAGA chant things like this? F your dead homie. Talk about Charlie Kirk. It's disgusting. Their parents ought to be completely ashamed of them. And they're in their masks. They're outside with masks on. Why? It's either to hide their face because they're about to engage in criminal activity, or they're so dumb that they don't realize these masks do nothing. It's the international signal for stupidity. Anybody with a mask on, you don't need to write stupid on it because the mask tells the whole story here. Now, what will happen to Berkeley for letting things get so out of control? I mean, things got absolutely nutty. Here is Harmeet Dillon. She's now with the DOJ.
Laura, thanks for having me so much. It's a pleasure to be here. This feels to me like deja vu all over again. I think it was like 8 years ago that I came on your show and talked about suing UC Berkeley for exactly this type of violent chaos that happened on the campus. And at that time, Berkeley was preventing conservative groups from having conservative speakers and then exposing them, if anyone ever came, to this type of violence. I sued them. I won a settlement, and Berkeley agreed to protect the guests of conservative speakers. And and yet here we are. They seem, as Savannah mentioned, to be completely unprepared. The Berkeley, local police as well seem to be unprepared, undermanned. They treat it as if it's a both sides problem. It is not a both sides problem. When a violent mob like Antifa comes and attacks like this, it's what we call a heckler's veto in First Amendment jurisprudence. And given the fact that there has now been a terrorist designation here, the Joint Terrorism Task Force is going to be looking into this together with the DOJ, my Civil Rights Division, and the FBI, and understand what happened here. How did it come to be the case that when Berkeley has noticed that this type of violence occurs on the campus, when conservative speakers come to speak, and by Rob Schneider had been scheduled to speak, it was a sold-out crowd of 2,000 people, and less than 1,000 people were there in the stadium because people were intimidated by this violence. So this is not a consequence-free situation. Berkeley has announced, oh, we're so happy that 1,000 people came to hear this. That is not the whole story. The story is that when Sonia Sotomayor comes to speak, when the Dalai Lama comes to speak, the Berkeley campus somehow is able to protect the speaker and all of the people who attend. And when it's a conservative speaker, it isn't. So we have some serious questions and concerns about this, and there'll be a full federal investigation. We've already sent 2 letters to Berkeley and to the police to preserve their documents so we understand how we came to this horrific situation to make sure it never happens again at UC Berkeley.
So what particular...
So isn't that interesting? So she sent the documents, preserve your evidence. They want text messages. They want communications back and forth between administration, the police, and all of these things to see what protections were put in place to prevent this kind of thing from happening. This is outrageous. You don't see this when you get Sonia Sotomayor at Berkeley. You don't see that when Kamala Harris goes to speak at Berkeley. One, because conservatives don't engage in wild behavior like this. But two, Berkeley takes the steps necessary to protect speakers. They do not take the steps necessary to protect conservative speakers. Now, I will say this. I'm somewhat impressed that Berkeley even allows Turning Point USA to hold an event there. There was a time when they would not allow Turning Point from having an event there. That's not good. And Jonathan Turley spoke about this on Fox.
Antifa is now being classified as a terrorist organization. UC Berkeley released this statement. It said that the university is conducting a full investigation and intends to fully cooperate with and assist any federal investigation and the FBI-led Joint Terrorism Task Force to identify the outside agitators responsible for attempting to disrupt last night's TPUSA event. UC Berkeley will take all appropriate steps to safeguard the rights of every member of our community to speak and assemble freely. And I think that last part is key. They're saying that the people that were a part of this weren't even part of the university. They were outsiders there.
No, this is a signature event for Antifa. It has all of those elements that many of us have written about. Antifa is the most violent anti-free speech movement in the history of the United States. And those of us on university campuses have been aware and hounded by Antifa for years. This is how they operate, and they get in there and they try to agitate the crowd. They try to trigger the violence, and it's got to stop. And the issue here is the core indispensable right to our Constitution of free speech.
Well, they don't want you to have free speech because they don't like what we have to say, and that's the truth. And because they can't defend the truth, they will go hog wild to silence us by punching us in the face. Now, wrong people to punch in the face for sure. I did get to talk to Ben Berkwam about this last night, and it was an interesting conversation I had with him. I'm going to play that for you in just a second, but before I do, folks, let me tell you about my friends over at Energized Health. I want you to watch this masterclass that they have at energizedhealth.com. I just got a email from a Stinchfield's Army member asking, hey, did Energized Health work? I heard you say you lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks. Does it really work? I'm here to tell you it really, really does. Not only did I lose the weight, I've kept the weight off. This is about getting hydrated at a cellular level. You change your diet around a little bit, but it's not one of these wacky diets that there's no way you're going to be able to live by. You change your workout routines a little bit, but it's no boot camp style stuff. It's very, very easy. Does it take a little commitment? Yeah, of course. But it's not crazy, and it's sustainable. And that's the great thing about Energized Health. And then once you get hydrated at a cellular level, the body fat starts melting away. Your brain fog goes away. Testosterone levels up. My blood pressure comes down. My skin started to clear up. Everything going in the right direction. That's what intracellular hydration can do. What is that? Watch the masterclass. EnergizedHealth.com. Totally backed by science. These guys are great. They got decades of experience helping people with a 99+% success rate and a money-back guarantee. EnergizedHealth.com. That's EnergizedHealth.com. Okay. Ben Berkwam on Stinchfield last night talking about the Antifa goons.
Yeah, Berkeley used to be the bastion for open dialogue, for open conversation. It was part of this whole liberal free love and thought movement. It's become a campus and a city that is opposed to that, and you can see that the same people that are chanting MAGA or fascist are truly the fascists. I've been dealing with this since 2016 and 2017 when I was attacked at Berkeley simply for going out there to try to find common ground. And the reality is, until we actually have DAs and prosecutors that prosecute these terrorists, and that's what they are, for attacking innocent people for wanting to go out and express themselves and express their ideas, we're not going to see a change. I do applaud the school for actually letting it happen, although they let it happen in the past. They just, the same thing, allowed these terrorists to come and attack people. In the past, the police were stood down. When I got attacked, the police were stood down. They were 30 feet away from me watching it happen. But now what we see is the bigger problem is these DAs don't prosecute. So even when there's crimes committed, they may be arrested, but they're immediately released because the DAs don't prosecute. And so until that changes, and until these fascist terrorists that claim to be anti-fascist are actually held accountable, it's going to continue. And that's the thing we see across our country. By the way, Grant, this is directly driven by Democratic Socialists of America. This is Mondami. This is AOC. This is Rashida Tlaib. This is their party. They call themselves Democrats, but in reality, it's the Democratic Socialists of America that are running this. The Antifa are simply the brown shirts for them today.
Ben, I'm sure a few of them there were students that were causing this ruckus. But do you believe that most of them are probably not? Most of them are coming in from other places to cause this chaos?
Yeah, so you've got a hyper-violent population there between Oakland and San Francisco that every time there's an event at Berkeley or anywhere in the Bay Area, they all mobilize, and they come from all areas, and in some cases they're flown in if it's a big enough event from out of the state. But they have a very violent sect of Antifa in the Bay Area of California, again, because it's been supported by the communists, the Democratic. They call themselves Democratic Socialists. In reality, it's communists. They want to destroy this country from within. And the only way they win against our ideas is to attack them violently. They cannot compete in the arena of ideas anymore. So the only thing they can do is what you see happening last night at Berkeley.
It's amazing because Ben is such an expert on this. He's been not with them, but embedded in these riots that Antifa carries out all across America. But he is right, specifically from Oregon down through California. That northwest corridor is particularly bad for Antifa, and it is because elected leaders in places like Portland and Seattle and San Francisco allow this behavior, enable this behavior, and in some respects encourage this behavior. The other behavior that is no longer being tolerated is a devious media. I told you about President Trump going after the BBC for doctoring his January 6th video. And the doctoring of the video was really, really, really bad. Well, President Trump now says he is going to sue, quite possibly, he is going to sue the BBC.
Are you going ahead and suing the BBC?
Well, I guess I have to. Why not? Because they defrauded the public, and they've admitted it. And their top echelon.
Director General and the CEO
This
both
is
resigned.
within one of our great allies. This is supposedly our great ally, BBC. The government has a chunk of that one, I guess. But That's a pretty sad event. They actually changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up. But it was very dishonest, and the head man quit, and a lot of the other people quit.
Yeah, I mean, I want to show the clip of President Trump's speech that was literally spliced together. Look at this.
The following clip.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell.
But Trump didn't, in fact, say this at all. The BBC spliced together two clips that took place 54 minutes apart. So let's go through it again.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
Now, see there, between Capitol and, that's a cut. Here's what Trump actually said.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
It's different. It wasn't until nearly an hour later that he then said the second part of the BBC's version.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we fight. We fight like hell.
That is damning stuff. Now, this, of course, is coming from the holier-than-thou BBC that he...
It is. The BBC was supposed to be the bastion of great journalism, like 60 Minutes and the New York Times and the Washington Post. All of them are deceitful rags. They really are. And so you can't have any trust in the mainstream media anymore. I hope you have some trust here with me on the Real America's Voice show. Certainly Real America's Voice is a network you can trust. There are others out there that I trust as well, some better than others. But what the BBC did there is bad. And I hope Trump does sue. Now, you had two executives step down, and they leave trying to claim that the BBC is still, such a great, great, great organization. Not so much. Not so much. Now, as for the budget deal, it looks like there is a deal in place. One of the reasons why Democrats were pushed over the edge, they brought up Obamacare. President Trump had a solution to Obamacare. Oh, you know what? Let's just scrap the whole thing, take $2,000 an American, and give it back to Americans so they can do with what they want with it for health care. Well, Democrats about flipped out over that. This is one of the reasons why I think they folded. Here's Senator Mark Wayne Mullen.
I think what happened, though, that a lot of people aren't paying attention to, is President Trump out-Trumped them. He made a brilliant statement and kind of took the fight out of them when he said, hey, instead of us giving the premium tax straight to these insurance companies, let's give it to the individuals. Mm-hmm. Let's give it to the people that want to buy health care and want to make the decisions on what program and what policy they want to buy themselves. Yeah. After that, it kind of took the fight out of the Democrats, and that's when you started to see them splinter.
Well, I thought it was very interesting. In his interview with Laura Ingraham last night, the president started to lay out some of what a Republican answer would be, a White House answer would be on health care. So how much structure is there to this plan? And, you know, what can we expect next on it? Do you expect that Republicans are going to have a specific plan that you all can vote on while you have the House and the Senate and the White House before the midterm?
Well, that's the question everybody wants to know. And I don't know how they're going to get something done by January 30th. These two sides are so far apart, which is, again, another reason why the filibuster needs to be thrown out. But you watch the Democrats unfold. I mean, they are just so angry at people like John Fetterman, who has some common sense through all this, says, hey, you know what? This isn't working for us. I think he's more like a Republican than he is a radical Democrat. He may be a Democrat, okay, and I'm sure he is. But he's closer to Republicans than he is to this radical faction of the Democrat Party.
A horrific mistake. Governor Gavin Newsom called it pathetic and a surrender. Poll after poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP. As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens? Because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
So that's The View, and that's The View's take, and you hear their stupid audience that are clapping. Fetterman comes back with his own response, and his response actually makes sense, even in his dirty, dirty, dirty sweatshirt.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values from.
Well, that's not a nice thing to say, Senator Fetterman, but let's hear what else you have to say.
And now if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them. And now I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations. And a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win, is involving my state and other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election. Or now, for me, it's like, that's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things and realize we need to find a way forward. And I would like to, rather than cite MTG, I'm going to cite one of the new governor-elects saying that my election is not a green light to continue the shutdown, because I promise you, this isn't a political game. It is viewed by many of us, but the reality is 42 million Americans now not sure where their next meal is going to come from, and because we vote like that, or people that haven't been paid for 5 weeks now, and that kinds of chaos. Those workers have to borrow more than $500 million, from their credit union just to pay their bills now. So for me, we're in the middle of this.
Senator, I got to ask you to hold up.
All right, so that's John Fetterman. And, too bad all Democrats weren't like him. We'd get a lot more done in Washington. That's for sure. But they're not. They're nuts, including Chuck Schumer.
A group of moderates came to Chuck Schumer 2 weeks into the shutdown, 2 weeks in, and said, we're ready to reopen the government. And he said, no, hold out. Wow. No, hold out. Mid-October, he said to his entire caucus that if anyone tried to reopen the government, he would stand against them. That's according to sources that told Axios. So
think about this. Nothing has changed since the beginning of all of this. So that means none of this had to happen. Okay? None of it. And so we now went through great pain as a nation. You've got contractors that are going through great pain trying to pay their people that aren't government employees but work for the federal government. I talked to a guy yesterday at my gym. Him and his family have a company that runs emergency response on military bases across this country. They've got hundreds of employees, multi-million-dollar payroll. They're not getting paid. These are the ambulance workers on military bases. So they're coming up with payroll, trying to pay their people. But even if they get the government open, now they're 30 days. They're going to be 60 days before they get any money. And they were already on a 60-day out pay cycle. So now you're looking at, 120 days? How does any company actually survive that? That's very, very difficult. And it didn't need to happen because they could have just pushed this through.
On Chuck Schumer, I know he's gotten the rap as the moderate, being beholden to the far left. No, he caused the pain. He pushed the pain through, along with Hakeem Jeffries, and it's quite sad to see the radical left take over that.
I agree. But it is what we get with them. The radical left has taken over. There is no doubt about it in my mind. All right, folks, listen, if you're watching the podcast, please like and share. Anything you can do, subscribe. That's really, really important. We got to build our numbers, our subscriber numbers here on Rumble. We've hit somewhat of a wall as we were growing very quickly. So please, anything you can do, word of mouth really, really helps. And then all the social media platforms, Stinchfield 1776, just about everywhere. You can find the episodes on my website, grantstinchfield.com, where you can find me. You can find the link to the Rav Show as well, which is 7 p.m. every night. We'll be talking about a lot of this stuff tonight on that show, including a case of a police officer who, in my opinion, was wrongly convicted, given 9.5 years for literally doing his job while he was off duty. He's serving 9.5 years. I've got video of the altercation. And you're going to be shocked when you see how this jury, this judge convicted him. He's been in jail for 3.5 years now. I'm working very hard to get Governor DeSantis in Florida to give him a pardon. This is coming out of Palm Beach County. And when you see the case of this officer, it will outrage you. That on the Real America's Voice show tonight. So stick around for that. Folks, thanks for watching. Stinchfield's Army Rolls. We'll see you tonight on RAV.